Hello Squirrels and welcome back to PPM6TV. Today what it is another visit to the bargain bin end of the gun mic market. Now I always listen to and read viewers' comments on the videos, and one very interesting one in the last one was from Hugh, which said that of all the mics in the video, the one he liked best was the SE8, which I just put up as a kind of introduction mic. So today I've put a Neumann KM185 in there to give the mics a real challenge. Now, of course, it's not surprising maybe that sort of mic, a hypercardioid or a cardioid, will sound better than a gun mic because, of course, gun mics have interference tubes. And interference tubes work by phase cancellation, and phase cancellation, as it says, is all to do with phase. And when you start introducing phase changes into your audio, well, maybe it's not surprising that the less you do that, the better. So this is the 185 hypercardioid as a bit of a test. Now, talking about interference tubes, there's a very famous story about the Sennheiser 415, the predecessor to the 416, being demonstrated in prototype to a load of broadcast engineers. And they complained that it was too directional. The tube on the front was too long. And so the Sennheiser senior engineer demanded a hacksaw. What was it? Hans-Joachim Grieser demanded a hacksaw, got the mic and said, well, how much directivity do you want? Sawed the end off and came up with the classic dimensions for a gun mic, which are still found in the 416. Although, of course, nowadays there's all sorts of technological ways, line arrays kind of things that maybe can make it a little bit shorter. But that, I've always thought, if you're aiming for the general gun mic market, you really don't want to stray too far from that dimension. AKG, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? This is a CK98 on an SE300 amplifier body, and as you can see, it does have the best attachment mechanism in the world and a bayonet. The actual interference tube, this is all tube and a little bit of capsule at the end, is longer than the whole, or just about the same length as the whole of a 416. So obviously putting that in a basket and waving it around on the end of a pole is a little bit more of a hassle. One of the very interesting things about this is, I mean, every gun mic I've ever seen has got interference slots on both sides of the tube, but this doesn't. It only has slots on this side, and this side of the tube is kind of solid. Will that make any difference in the off-axis? Well, again, reading the comments, loads of people asking about off-axis, so there will be another video where we do all the gun mics off-axis. But for now, let's dive into this AKG bargain. I say a bargain, actually. The capsules, the CK98, is quite hard to find, and therefore it may not be quite such a bargain. But anyway, I'm chucking it in there. Let's have a go with the CK98 SE300 from AKG. And so now we've got the SE300 CK98 plugged up, and just in case you're wondering why it is so elevated, it's because I was worried about the proneness of the Neumann to popping. It really is a pop master. It's very prone to popping. And I thought, well, if I lift it as high, get it right up a high, it'll be out of my breath passage and give it more chance of working without a windshield, which I haven't been using deliberately, so that there's no question of the windshields introducing problems to the sound or issues with the sound. Now, it did make me think I ought to do a video. All the videos I would have made, I ought to do a video. Two videos. One, the poppiest mic in my collection, and I think that will be the Neumann, maybe the 184, although the 185 may be even worse, and some Bayer Dynamic cheap electret that I bought years ago, and I thought, that's great, it's a bargain. Pops like crazy. Anyway, I'll do that. And the other thing I thought I should do, which I have never done, and it's so obvious, is why not do a video of the Neumann 184 cardioid against the 185 hypercardioid? Well, isn't that a test we'd all like to hear? I'd like to hear it, and I haven't made the video. Anyway, this has given you a chance to hear the AKG combination. I think I'll run it up against a few other things. Next, maybe the 416 as the kind of gold standard of trial for bargain mics. I should say that because John Willett, who's a lovely guy, and he's former head of Sennheiser in the UK, and what he doesn't know about Sennheiser mics, or most mics in general, isn't worth knowing. Was in the comment section, but I was replying to John saying, well, where he represents Gefell now, where Gefell, masters of mic production, why are you not making a gun mic? Maybe they don't think there's a big enough market. But anyway, I'd like them to be asked. So John, please ask them on our behalf. let's drop by the Sennheiser 416 next. Back in front of an old favourite, the Sennheiser 416. Now, if you did read John's comment, he said, well, if I was buying a gun mic now, I'd buy a Sennheiser 8060. So would I, John, if I had 1,300 quid. Of course, if you're a working sound recordist and you're doing this for a living every day, that, of course, is the route you go. But the whole point of these videos is that this is for people who are A, too poor, or B, too mean, or C, both, to shell out for something lovely like an 8060 or indeed a Sherps or high-end Sanken. So here we are with a 416. I think the whole point about the 416 is you kind of know where you are. I would hope that everybody has had a chance to hear one, at least even if they haven't had a chance to own one. It's been ubiquitous throughout location recording for a long time. And I still don't think, with all due respect, I don't think you're going to get sacked off the job if you turn up with a 416, unless you're working for a very, very, very fussy guy, in which case you might be better off not working for them. Just my view. Anyway, there's the 416. Let's put something else in there and get a bit of variety going. Hello squirrels, and now to the big bucks. The AKG 480 amplifier mic body with the CK69 gun mic capsule. This is the shorter of the options. There is an extension, just a mechanical extension, which you may have seen in an earlier video. Now this is the big bucks, and are they worth it? I mean, this was over £2,000. This combination new, hasn't been discontinued that long, but the CK69 is quite rare in my experience. What I would say is, you know, all these things are subjective. You know, it's only worth it if you think it's worth it. But it is interesting that quite a few people in the comment sections have mentioned the warmth and the attractiveness of the sound of this combination. So maybe if you've got the cash and you can find it, this should be the place you start with a bargain bin, although you will be spending at the top end of what you might call a bargain. And here we are with a mic that started it all, well, at least all these bargain bin videos. This is the AKG 568. And you know, it's wonderful to be wrong and unobservant at the same time. I said that the CK98 was unusual in that it only had interference slots down one side of the tube and not on the other side, and I didn't know any other mics that did that. And as I was rigging the 568, I suddenly noticed it's exactly the same. It's got a couple of... you can see some slots around the bottom of that. That's where the capsule is in the CK98. Obviously, this is AKG's technique because the 568 is exactly the same. I thought, hang on, what about the CK69? And that indeed is the same. Of course, you've got the slots all the way around at the bottom, but the main body of the tube does indeed only have slots on one side. What do AKG know that we don't? Who knows? We could always ask them. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that quick trip around the bargain bin, and I'll look at the CK98 capsule and the combination with the 300. Do subscribe to the channel. It does help a lot. Thanks for dropping by. See you again soon. Bye for now.